Hi there, welcome to the latest of the Houston We Have a Problem. Phone in, call in, whatever you're going to call it. I kind of don't know how to describe it, to be perfectly honest with you, but I'm joined with a co-host for this evening. I'm going to regret this. Kevin Daranta. How are you, Kevin?
I'm all right, man. I seen Stephen Rennie was in, so I thought I better come up.
Aye, and I hope he's remembered
That
to do.
echo again.
Oh, is it? Hold on. Right, we'll sort that early tonight, right? Hold on. Breathe in. And click headphone. Hopefully. There you go, Kev. Do you want to try saying something now?
Aye, well, hopefully it'll be a bit better. Aye, there you go. That's better, see?
That better. See?
I didn't
See,
like,
cheap.
didn't like hearing my voice twice. It's bad enough hearing my voice once, never mind hearing it twice, you know what I mean?
Aye, I'm kind of a on that, mate.
Aye, I'm pretty sure your audience will feel that way too.
Oh, my audience. So that's a bit mental, isn't it?
I
I
know,
see you
eh?
forgot to turn the lights on again.
What's that?
I see you forgot to put the lights on again.
Aye, I forgot, aye.
So,
I'm not quite in my Brad Pitt look-alike stage yet, know what I mean?
no, far from it. Far
Aye.
from it. What was I going to say to you there? Oh, aye. I didn't think you were coming on to co-host. I said that when I spoke to you on the phone, you were maybe just going to listen. Are you feeling better now?
No, I just thought I'll nip up anyway, just in case, know what I mean? But I was just like, when I joined, I seen the comments, I seen that young boy Stevie on again, so I thought, hopefully he's going to come up and have a wee chat with you again about, obviously, the big event up in Peterhead on 9th of August, so I thought, aye,
So you're just nosy.
more or less, aye.
There's accused Scott saying your stalker's back on again, Craig. I know, mate. I can't get rid of him. I genuinely can't get rid of him. I'm trying. Do you know what he done last night, right?
Oh,
We left.
no, don't even think about it, right? I was already in that space before I came out of it to come on to yours and then went back into that space. I know exactly what you're going to say.
Right.
See, you're that predictable.
I'm not predictable, but I'm predictable because I just tell the truth, right? And what happened was we finished up here. We went on. I went on to Twitter, and I had some stuff to do, work to do. So I was putting on a Twitter space just to use it like the radio, and I wasn't looking about, and then somebody said something. Barry said something which was quite nice about me, so I thought I better pop in and say hello. And I popped in. I looked back at my Twitter tab, and you were there.
But I'd already been in that space earlier on in the night. I went in there at 7 o'clock, left there at 8 o'clock to come and spend, which was meant to be half an hour with you, right? And then literally the night just went into complete carnage. So then sat for about an hour or so with you. Then I had jumped out of there. I went to grab my tablets, take my tablets, came back through, went to go back into that space, and lo and behold, you were in there again.
Aye, magic. Genuinely. Somebody says I should get a restraining order on you. Anyway, we have our first caller of the night, and it's somebody that's been in before. So, how are you, Stephen?
There he is.
Oh, all right.
You weren't going into the toilet there, were you?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm very well. How are you?
Putting his makeup on.
I was just running the Burns Bath.
So how's things up in Peterhead?
Aye, it's all going well by the sounds of it, like. Just trying to get... we've got a wee group meeting on Sunday up at Andy Tate's Heritage Pub, so see if I can get as many people that's actually coming to protest for the group and explain to them kind of things that's got to happen. We've been in touch with the police. We're working with them again, so they've told us there's going to be counter-protesters, but they're refusing to reveal how many there is coming. So we've designated them an area, and the police are actually working with us well. They're saying that on the day they're going to be policing them and they us. So we'll see how it works out.
For those who don't know, Stephen is up in Peterhead, and Stephen, we done a live last week. Times. When did we do that one? Me, you, and Kev.
Last
Stephen?
week.
So last week, aye. And he's holding a protest up in Peterhead because, well, I'll let you tell folk, Stephen, what problems are you finding up there as a community that you feel the need to protest?
Well, everything really. I mean, as you can see, we just got information the day of the amount of asylum seekers that's been put into the area through the council. And I can't remember the exact figure. One of the other organisers, Alan, it was a Freedom of Information email or something for Aberdeenshire Council. I'm sure it was over 1,000.
Wow.
But again, they also says that Mears Group deal with all the illegals, and if we want any information on them, then we need to contact them, which they won't give us. So
when they said Mears deal with all the illegals, what was the 1,000 then? Was that just legal migrants? Asylum seekers?
All claimed asylum, been granted asylum. So
wow, that's no ones waiting for the process. That's ones that have been.
Aye. Now, did I quote me on a number? I'm not 100% sure, but I'll because it was a quick call the day when I was at my work, so I'll speak to him again later and get the exact number. And we've also been made aware of a landlord that was emailed by Aberdeenshire Council offering him £8,000 in rent a year if he's willing to house illegals in a private rented flat.
Is that a joke?
One bedroom flat, 8,000 a year. So
how does that compare to if it was not rented out to illegals? If that was just, a sort of private rent?
Well, you'll work out the way when Aberdeenshire Council first started emailing, the way you get it with them is it's a 5-year contract, so you get a 5-year lease, and you get a year's rent up front at the start of every year. So you'll get the $8,000 cash up front. They'll then get a year, and I haven't been able to get this guaranteed, but I've been told that any housing repairs while you've got one of these guys in your accommodation is free and done by the council as well.
Of course it is.
It's any boiler breakdowns, they deal with all that as well. It's an added perk for housing an illegal. Other than obviously £500, £600, £700 a month, you're just getting the £8,000 whack in your bank straight away. So
that's pretty crazy, isn't it? So see, Peterhead, does that come under Aberdeen Council then?
Aberdeenshire.
Right, so is Aberdeen City got a separate council then?
Aye, that's a different one for us, yeah.
Right, and then everything outside, it's another council. So you're not talking about a highly populated area?
No, like I said, we've got a population of 18,000. So, approximately.
And there's 1,000 that they know about asylum seekers in.
Well, that's it. I'm not sure if that's in Aberdeenshire. I think that's maybe split between us and Fraserburgh, maybe.
Right.
But I'm not 100 either.
That's not the full figure.
No.
Massive populated areas we're talking about.
We were told about a few months ago as well that Aberdeenshire Council don't get a say. I think every council in the country has got to take their fair share, some kind of agreement that they've got with the UK government, which is understandable, but the illegals, Mears Group don't have to disclose how many and what areas they're getting put into. So
Mears it with more people.
Crazy.
Unbelievable. So you're getting good support for your protest then, mate?
I mean, you're getting the obvious negatives, fascists and far right and racists.
Of course you will be.
you've got so they're expecting the refugees welcome, but I mean, not once have I ever heard an alleged far-right protest say that refugees are not welcome in Britain. Nobody's shouting for Ukrainians to be chased out and put back on boats and put away.
Listen, I dare say there are some people who don't want any immigrant, they want zero, right? And I kind of say, okay, do you like Trump? Do you like Elon Musk? And they generally, aye, okay. So let's just say Elon Musk decided he was wanting to open a battery factory in Ayrshire, and he fancied buying a castle and living over here and buying a castle in Argyllshire. You would tell him then you don't want him, because that's what you would need to do if you want zero immigration. So it's the level of immigration, it's the amount of undocumented people, it's the fake asylum, it's the freebies that we give out to attract people here. That's kind of what normal people have the problem with.
Right.
It's not like somebody's, leaving a proper war zone and we don't want to, be good people, good human beings. That's not what the problem is. The problem is the level of undocumented immigration. But these people don't want to hear that. They just want to turn anything into a negative and call you, me, and everybody else a far-right racist thug.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's it. I mean, you look at, I don't care what colour you are, even if you're white, if you're here illegally, you need to leave. It's crazy. I mean, we've got a lot of legal migrants over in Eastern European ones. It's all over here. They're all working. But it's the same with these guys. I mean, these guys are all contributing. They're all paying taxes, paying a national insurance, helping industries grow in Scotland. But I mean, if you obviously get the ones that come here as well, and they're like, well, the benefit lifestyle's good. But it's the same with guys that's on there. If you're not for the UK and you're spending 6 months of your life or the year on benefits, then you need to go as well, in my eyes. I mean, unless you've been here 5 years working and then you've contributed.
Johnny's one of these people that doesn't think immigration's a problem in Scotland. It's all English dumping them here. Well, I just remind you, Johnny, see the government in Scotland, they asked months ago to get more people sent here. Glasgow City Council became an asylum centre through choice. So please don't give me your absolute bullshit arguments about that's just, we should be independent because of the immigration problem. Because let me ask you, are you not wanting any immigrants in? Because if not, then get Sale out in the street. Start telling the SNP, start telling all these people in the pro-Pally, pro-Windy, every single protest I've ever seen that's not, people, who want independence, and they hold up banners saying asylum seekers welcome here. So go and have a word with them. I won't talk to them because I'm fed up with your nonsense.
When you look at Stephen Flynn, in the build-up to the general election when they were doing live debates, he stood up against Nigel Farage and says the problem in Scotland with immigrants is that we don't have enough.
I don't know how he doesn't how he works that one out.
It's crazy.
It's blame culture. It's every single thing that's a problem in Scotland. What we need to do is, if you want independence, is blame Westminster. I'm fed up listening to it. Right? So it's just like that day. Remember that day? Because the independent Scotland that this guy wants is great because we're the worst in the world, worst in Europe for drug deaths. And when our First Minister was challenged on it last year, he said it was Maggie Thatcher's fault and her policies. Maggie Thatcher, who hadn't wrote a policy for 40 years. So it's kind of mental, right? It's just daft. And if you want to just blame everything, every out on Westminster, crack on. Go and put your head out the window, look up to the sky. The moon will be up there somewhere in this time of night and go and get a good howl at it, right? But I ain't listening anymore because you're crackers, a lot of you. Right, anyway, back to the banter. So, you're getting what we all get, mate. So I'm going to take a wee comfort break because I need to. I don't need to explain why. And while I'm doing that, I want to just remind everybody what the phone-in show's all about and have a wee listen. We'll see what to do and get involved. Be back in 1 minute. Hi there, welcome to a new concept for the channel where you, the viewer, gets to come onto the show and tell me, Houston, we have a problem. I want to hear from you, your community, and the issues you have with the United Kingdom currently. And the only thing I ask you to do start the conversation with, Houston, we have a problem. When you see the description on YouTube, all you have to do is scroll down the description, click on that link, it'll bring you straight into the studio. From there, I'll invite you up, and you start the conversation with Houston, we have a problem. We'll see what we can do to help you, your community, and your problems going forward. You never know, it might be my next journey, length and breadth of the UK, to come to your community and cover your issues. So get live, get involved. Houston, we have a problem. Right guys, I kind of remind you, this is what I want to do. I want to do this weekly show. I think it's great doing lives as opposed to just recordings because there's a lot of engagement and there's a lot of people there that are starting to build wee friendships and a wee community, and I think it's fantastic. So the next progression to that is get us up here, do what Stephen's doing, do what Kevin's doing, and come up and discuss what you feel are problems, regardless of what you know, your politics, your football team, your religion, your nationality. I don't care. Come up and say one thing. Houston, we have a problem, and have the floor and tell me and tell everybody out there what your problems are with the UK, and we can try and look at finding ways of trying to fix them. Right? So that's kind of what we want to do. If not, then there's no point in doing call-ins if nobody calls in, and it means I need to talk to Kevin all night, and that would do my nothing.
That's a great thing. You just bring up subjects like this and then just sit back and let me go, man. Know what I mean? Because obviously I've got to watch what I'm saying, but I mean, this is see when you hear these stories. I mean, is somebody missing something here, right? I mean, you've got 4,000 illegals. So Stephen mentioned Ukrainians earlier on there. There was a big difference between the Ukrainians and the illegals we're getting. The Ukrainians that were coming were women and children. Well, their men were left back in the country fighting. So they've left war-torn countries and moved here for safety. Meanwhile, you're getting these people, it's all men. It's all men of fighting age. You just need to watch that taxi service that brings them into Dover every day for the RNLI. It's just all men. And you've got 4,000 of them in Glasgow. So your sexual assaults have increased up to over 40% now. It's no hard to see why. Right? So you're getting the same going into wee villages like Peterhead and Fraserburgh and things like that. It's not long before that all starts. These people are unvetted. They're chucking their documents away. Right? They're throwing them into the sea, so you don't even know who they are. You don't know what age they are. You don't know where they've come from. You don't know what they've done in their country before they've left. Yet we're meant to just sit and say, oh, refugees. And by the way, Stephen, I wasn't surprised when you said there'll be a counter-protest. And do you know why there's always going to be a counter-protest? Because these goonballs will turn up at anything. They turn up at protests against grooming gangs. They turn up at children's survivors of sexual abuse. They turn up at absolutely anything. Because it's we want to be a part of something brigade. That's who these rockets are, honestly. So, they'll be there. Do you know what, Stephen? There'll be loads of us up there. And we'll just get louder than them.
See you on Sunday. I don't know if you've heard about it. We had a Armed Forces Day in Aberdeen.
Aye.
Army veterans, old men, marching down the street, and they were abused, intimidated, harassed by pro-Palestinian supporters. Crazy.
And that's the thing you say there as well. I mean, they've just recently had a pro-India march in Glasgow. Right now, the last time I seen one, which was in 2014, it was saltires and rampant lions. That last one, there was big. All you could see was this. They keep saying this Palestine, right? And I said this to Craig earlier on. This Palestine flag. I don't know what they're talking about, right? Because that's not even a country, right? So I don't know what flag that is that they're flying, right? But there they are, loads of them, and there they are, big banners. I mean, do they not actually see the people that they're handing the keys of Scotland over to? Do they not get it? Are they not watching Hamza Yusuf? Are they not watching Anas Sarwar? These two people are in a line with each other. You've got Anas Sarwar's dad standing in the streets of Glasgow and shouting for Sharia law. Yet people in Scotland want an independent Scotland, and that's what these people are shouting for.
Anyway, we've got a question. Why has a fence popped up around Parliament? I saw that on Twitter today. I've no idea. But what I do think is ironic is we keep getting told London's safe and London's great and diversity's fantastic, but we'll put a 10-foot fence all the way Houses of Parliament to keep the folk in there safe. But see, use commoners outside that fence. You can fend for yourself. It's no a problem. And to be fair, I'm just surprised it's not been up there already. So, Kev, you were going to try and get a pal of yours to come on, and somebody that lived near Livingston that was going to try and tell us what happened last night. How did you get on with that?
I was talking. I gave him my phone the day. He stays round about that area. And my mate Wally, if you get him on, you think I'm bad. This boy's in a different league. He was kind of talking to me about this. He popped in to see me yesterday, and it was the first thing that came out of his mouth was the shambolic things that had happened at Glastonbury at the weekend. I mean, you want to hear this? I had to put up with it for about 10 minutes. He just went an out and out rant. He comes for the same divide of the fence as I do. Do you know what I mean? As well, I mean, he's sick of it as well. I mean, he's got a family, he's got grandkids. You know what I mean? And he's kind of worried about it, and he keeps saying the same as me. It's like everybody's kind of sleepwalking into this mess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I told him,
favourite.
Eh?
Wee Jamesy loyal. Wee Jamesy's a wee pal of mine. Wee Jamesy must be early 20s now. I've known him for about 10 years since we were doing the protesting at Rangers. He used to turn up every protest and absolutely give me pelters. He was worse than you, truth. And I haven't seen him for ages. And I try to think, it's a good couple of years anyway. And when I was going down to London on Friday, I was passing by Ibrox, and there was Wee Jamesy's in a wheelchair. And his mum was pushing him along to go to the Rangers shop. So I done a U-turn and jumped out and had a wee chat with him. And he's telling me he watches all the videos and stuff, and no doubt shouts at the telly when I'm on. But I was really upset because I said, who's your favourite that does the videos and stuff? And he said, Tommy Robinson. I was pure gutted. So I'm, Wee Jamesy was my best pal, but now he's my second best pal. My best pal's Kevin Narana. But it was great to see the wee man. I've not seen him for absolutely ages. Sorry, Kev. Sorry to interrupt you there.
I know it's all right. So I've tried to find out what had happened in Livingston. All I know is that was armed police were walking about one of the streets in Livingston. There was helicopters out, and all I've heard is that somebody had been shooting at cars. I don't know the full ins and outs yet. I'm still trying to find out. But then again, it's been complete radio silence. It's not even been on the telly or nothing. It kind of tells you a story. I looked on Police Scotland's website to see if I could find out more about it. Not a thing. I've got a couple of pals in Livingston anyway, so I'll try and get in touch with them and see if I can find out a wee bit more. But it's unbelievable.
But see the mad thing is, Kev, that never reached the national news. That never needs to reach mainstream media. And you think, hold on a minute, a town like Livingston, armed coppers, through what I've heard were like, was it near about midnight, all tooled up, closing off streets, shutting down estates, helicopters up. Nobody knows why, and the mainstream media never covered it. Like, how bad is the country when stuff like that? It's either one, whoever it is that's involved, or just not to talk about it, or two, crime and stuff is so bad that it's not a big thing anymore.
Well, I mean, I hope you didn't mind me mentioning this, but you made headline news.
I did.
You know what I mean? But what happened to you recently? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, that was newsworthy, but I was only newsworthy because what they wanted to do was not tell the truth, the whole truth, none but the truth. They wanted to tell a version of the truth, which included things in some newspapers that I wasn't taken into custody for. And I can't really talk about it much more than that, you know what I mean? And I can't properly defend myself because there's certain things I'm not even allowed to say because of this thing here, my bail conditions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just bonkers. And, I can't wait to the day that I can tell my side of this, because it's no anywhere near the perception of how it was reported by certain people.
But that's the point I'm making. So you make headline news, and yet somebody's run about with gun that's caused for armed police to get out in the streets, helicopters to be out flying about, and that doesn't even make even the local rag.
Mm-hmm. It's just bonkers, man. It's just and then I was down at a thing in London on Saturday. The videos, I don't know how many folk was there, but there was certainly thousands. And on the way out, I was talking to a copper as I was setting up my camera to get a shot of people coming out. And I was like, I'm busy day today. And he's like, no, it wasn't bad. And I went, all right, what's that numbers? Because he'll get information over their earpieces. And he's like, we think about 500. You're like, what? There's more than 500 walked out the time that you and I have been talking. And then when you factor in that not a single mainstream media outlet covered it, when there was thousands there, right? And what they were rallying and marching for, you go, that's no newsworthy, because they don't want that in the news. Do you know what I mean? They don't want to be highlighting these things. Just let's pretend it didn't happen. And it's just a sham. It's just a complete sham that it is everything's just like part of an agenda.
An agenda doesn't suit us. I mean, look, my theory behind this is they're just flooding this country with as many potential future voters, right? So if they get them into this country, you know yourself, they just need to get a house. They just need to be registered at that house. Then they get an address, right? They get a vote. So come 2026 next year, SNP have got the people that SNP are allowing into the country, housing into this country, are going to get the vote. They're going to be eternally grateful to them, and they'll just consistently vote them. And then you'll never get rid of the SNP, and the SNP will just completely keep going on with this agenda, with this independence agenda, right? And I know there'll be people here sitting going, we want independence, or yous are just unionists. Well, I just want to remind your audience, I did vote for independence back in 2014 because Alex Salmond tried to sell us a dream, right? And I'll tell you right now, since 2014, that dream has been turned into an absolute utter nightmare, because the people that are in charge of this country are doing nothing but dipping your pockets day in, day out, and to furnish their own pockets, and that people don't see it. But our industry's gone. I mean, how many more times do I need to keep reminding people? BP, Patrick Harvey stood there and they laughed at the day, actually laughed when they announced that they were closing down the BP in Grangemouth. And bear in mind, there's people's jobs, right, that now are going to be unemployed, and he's standing there laughing about it. It's everything that we've ever had has been sold off. I mean, you spoke about the wind farms before, Scotland's Energy. I mean, I'm not going to go on about it because I can't quite get it the way you do it. But Sturgeon sold all that off for about, what was it, $5 a plot? Just something stupid.
No, we had an auction. I think we get 600 million quid. That was it, right? And we leased off something like 80-85% of our offshore wind leases. Basically, you rented the bit of the seabed, right? And the auction had a maximum price on it for each square metre, right? Which is a bit bonkers. Every single company that won a bid was foreign, and 2 of them were the foreign nationally owned energy companies of Spain and Norway. Right? And then you go, well, I wonder how our bills are a bit high, right? Because we pawned them all. And the mad thing is, right, see with the deal, what you get is, if we cannot take your power into the national grid, we pay you money not to have your turbine turning, right? And if we do ask for the power off your turbine, we agree to give you the agreed set amount. There's a set amount for electricity, right? But we agree to give you an extra levy because it's green energy. So you can't lose, right? So rather than go, do you know what? we've got this Scottish Investment Bank, this other con that's never worked. Why don't we raise some money through that and we'll own it, right? That would be kind of good. These people that are howling about nationalising the country, as in have an independent Scotland. Well, that would be no bad if you knew what you were going to do. And kind of if you were wanting to do that, one way of looking after your people and worrying about things like fuel costs would be to have a nationally owned thing. Well, no, pawned a lot, and pawned the whole lot to every single winning bidder was foreign. And then what we do, as I say, two of them are national businesses of Norway and Spain. So we're actually contributing to the public purse in Spain and Norway every time we take some of the stuff that came out the wind offshore in Scotland. But what I have to believe with crackpots that think, oh, freedom, independence is, we would be so much better ran ourselves. Now, you were there, Kev, you fell for the dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you done that, that was 2014.
Mm-hmm.
The dream was sold that we will be all rich because of oil, right? Then fast forward at about 7 or 8 years, the SNP needed the Greens to be in the government with them and have a coalition, and suddenly oil became the worst thing in the world. And you've actually got crackpots who are actually walking the earth, by the way, and they get the same amount of votes as you and I do in a general election, right? And they believe, oh no, oil was never the reason for independence. Huh? Because now, we're shutting refineries and all that, right? You're like, well, what would have happened if it had been independent in 2014? Because the whole dream fiscal plan was based on oil being, the black liquid gold. And they go, no, that was never the plan. Now, you voted for independence. You fell for that in your own words.
Mm-hmm.
Am I hallucinating here, or was that how we were sold the idea of
No,
independence?
but that's exactly what we were sold. But pre the 2014 referendum, we were always led to believe that Scotland was an oil-rich country. We had so much to offer the world in the way of industry, etc. Do you know what I mean? So the only thing, let's get it right. The only thing that stopped that referendum going the other way was the currency. If Alex Salmond could have assured you what the currency was going to be back then, I think that vote would have went the other way. And I genuinely do believe it, because I think there's a lot of people were like, well, we didn't know what the currency was going to be back then. There was people like me that didn't care. I was like, I don't care. I just want independence. I want to be free of this Westminster rule. Do you know what I mean? And so there was people, me just went straight to the ballot and went, yes, give me that independence. I want everything that Scotland's got to offer the world. I want it for us. But then as I've watched it go in this 11 years, the state of this country, I mean, our kids have got very little future. We've got homeless veterans sleeping on the streets while we're getting illegal migrants 4-star hotels to stay in, giving them food, giving them phones, giving them free healthcare, giving them free dentistry, giving them free absolutely everything. Yet the people that have actually stood in the front lines to protect this country are actually getting left abandoned on the streets. Then they become junkies, and then eventually become just another statistic.
I'll let you respond to this one, mate.
Is that bumfluff?
No, the vote was fixed in 2014.
Well, I mean, look, I mean, you could argue there was a lot of that there, but I'm...
Hold on, he's at it. John Watt, how'd you join the chat? John, you're on YouTube. Go into the description. You'll see a link for StreamYard. Click it, and then I'll let you talk for about 32 seconds, because I don't know if I could cope with you and Kev in the same room, but feel free, right? In fact, hurry up, because Kev's doing my nothing, and I'll get to chat to you for a wee 32 seconds. That sounds good, doesn't it? As long as you're not at the movies tonight. Aye.
Give him a minute. He'll need to do the same as Stephen. Go put his makeup on before he comes on.
Aye. It was a fix, mate. The referendum was a fix.
It's never a fix. If it was done, it was dusted. If it was going to be a fix, then it would have been a fix to work it the other way around. Because at that time, the people that were doing the counting were the people that were wanting independence. So just stop that nonsense.
Stop that Nonsense. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll, please.
It's not him, is it? Right, there he is.
He's here.
There's the
John,
eye
what are you doing
candy.
today? How you doing, John?
I'm all right. There's a bit of a lag here, I think.
That's because Kevin's in. He's off a slow.
Hold on. I'll need to come back in. There's a lag. Hold on.
He's got console Wi-Fi, isn't he? He's robbing it off his next door neighbour.
He's got a dongle still.
Dial up.
He's on dial-up still, aye. He's getting
So,
that screeching noises. He's trying to get involved. Know what I mean?
Kevin, even though you were a yes voter back then, and you've changed your views since then, when you would obviously be disappointed when the results came through, right? But did you believe it was a fix then?
No, I don't. If it was a fix, we would have got independence.
Nah, no.
I know John's going to disagree with me that, but no. I mean, if you think about it, it was Scotland's referendum. Scotland held the polls. It was Scotland that done the counting. So at the end of the day, if it was going to be a fix, it would have been 55 fun, 55 for to get part to come away from the union. It would have been another way about. So no, it wasn't a fix.
Aye. But I suppose when you don't get what you want, what I think happened back then is, right, I actually thought independence was going to go the other way. I thought the vote was going the other way because I was guilty of doing what a lot of people done, and that was counting badges. Because every town centre, every city centre was just full of people with yes stickers and badges and rallies and all that nonsense, right? And I thought, this is going to go the wrong way. So if you were surrounded by that, you probably thought, oh, we're winning this easy. And what's he saying? This John's a crackpot, man. He can't work it.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I was the same as you. I was convinced we were going to. I mean, I sat up all night watching the counters that come in, and as the count was coming in, and I'm sitting thinking, how's this working? That's not what I was seeing out in the streets. Do you know what I mean? But you've got to remember, too, back then, though, Craig, right? There was where I worked, you had Eastern European guys that didn't have British passports. They got a vote in that referendum too.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? No, for me, I don't think that was right. Mm-hmm. Why should anybody that's just a visitor into this country, doesn't hold a valid passport or doesn't have dual citizenship, why did they get a vote on that in a referendum that was on my country? Mm-hmm. I couldn't go to Poland or Slovakia or anything like that and get a vote there. So why did they get a vote in it? And I'll be honest with you, I think that's why it drove us to the 55% as well. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a fix, but
right.
there was.
Before we go to YouTube's Johnny Depp, right? I'm just going to play that wee video again to remind you why we have these phone-ins and how you get involved, right? So, we'll be back in less than 1 minute, okay? Hi there, welcome to a new concept for the channel where you, the viewer, gets to come onto the show and tell me, Houston, we have a problem. I want to hear from you, your community, and the issues you have with the United Kingdom currently. And the only thing I ask you to do is start the conversation with, Houston, we have a problem. When you see the description on YouTube, all you have to do is scroll down the description, click on that link, it'll bring you straight into the studio. From there, I'll invite you up, and you start the conversation with Houston, we have a problem. And we'll see what we can do to help you, your community, and your problems going forward. You never know. Might be my next journey, planting bread to the UK, to come to your community and cover your issues. So get live, get involved. Houston, we have a problem. Right, John, so on that wee short video there, I was talking about my wee tours around about these beautiful islands, and you're just back for one. What were you doing? And where were you and what were you doing? And what did you learn?
First of all, Houston, we do have a problem. Kev talks shite. Sorry.
Fuck off, listen to you.
I can't do it.
Listen,
Anyway,
wait a minute here.
um,
Don't start coming up here, right? And when I'm giving you all the backing I can on all your conspiracy theories, that's not good enough.
Well, we'll get into that. Right? We'll get into the conspiracy stuff anyway. You know, it's good because like this needs all angles anyway, so it needs the angle on my side as well. Because you know I always go on about everything that's getting played out just now is done by design. Because the problems that we face in this country, we face is the same that every other country is actually dealing with. So that tells me that there's a bigger thing at play, and it's good that I finally managed to knock Craig into, you know, watching this documentary, The Agenda. And like I said, he hasn't watched it fully, but he's kind of looking at it. But I'm you know, my story goes obviously regarding the Jags and stuff and how it harmed me. And since then, the world's went crazy since 2020. And they do talk about these things, and they talk about the Great Reset, and they talk about the Agenda 2030 and stuff. And people might say that's my tinfoil hat stuff, but they literally wrote a book on it, the WEF, which was the guy called Klaus Schwab, and it's crazy. You can actually buy that book on Amazon, and it tells you what they're trying to play out. But we were going to do a live regarding the video that I've got coming up, Craig, and I went to Llandudno at the weekend because the farmers in Wales, in north of Wales, it was stunning, by the way. It was absolutely beautiful. So the farmers had a protest. There was a Labour conference in Llandudno, and you know Keir Starmer was there. All the Labour MPs were there and stuff. And I decided to go. Now Keir Starmer didn't just sneak in the back door, but he also snuck out the back door at one point, and there's a wee bit of drama in the video because at one point
Can I just remind you something, John? There's a current live police case about Keir Starmer and back doors, because you might want to control your language a wee bit.
Hi. But anyway, so basically, I've been talking about this documentary that was made by Mark Sharman of Oracle Films, and there's a part in it where they talk about the food, the farmers. I've watched the farmers. I've been keeping a close eye on the farmers, and again, stuff that has been getting told it's a conspiracy theory. It's all starting to come to light. And the farmers, you know, the inheritance tax was one thing, but now they've went after the fishery as well. And basically they've given, my understanding is they've given the rights to like the likes of France for them to come into this country, basically fish on our seas, catch the fish, go back to France and sell it back to our country.
I sell it back to us. Brilliant. What a concept that is, eh?
Exactly. So the fishery and everything. So there was a guy out in the boat for them, and so I'm sitting there going, right, well, I've been speaking about this long enough, so I'm going to go out there. I'm going to interview the farmers, and I'm going to speak to them and see what they're saying. And everything I was saying just proves exactly what the documentary says and exactly what people have been saying. And the honest answer is, it is scary times. I'm not here to try and put the fear into anybody, but you know, I do ask them who's making these policies, and they're like, it's WEF, it's the World Economic Forum. These are WEF policies. It's net zero, which obviously you know a bit about the net zero, Craig, and everything that's getting played out just now is fitting into that, and they're blaming the farmers for all of this. And I asked the farmers, I says, they do talk about food shortages. You know, is this true? Is it a possibility? And they said 100%. 100%. If things don't change, we could be getting into food shortages. And I said, how long? And they went, if they pull one thing, it'll be a week. 1 week, and we will have food shortages. And I'm sitting there going, this is crazy. And the funny thing was, obviously, Glastonbury and all that's happened. these guys lined up their tractors. They stood there. They done all this. When they had their speeches, and one of the speeches was actually really quite. It actually put a lump in my throat at one point because it was a woman, and she was talking about her 5-year-old son. She was talking about his future. She was worried about it. You know, she started crying, and I was sitting there going, "This is actually quite heartbreaking." And the farmers are they're on the brink, and these are the people that feed us. And there was no coverage. LBC were there to cover it. But then I went and then I just went round and done my usual, which was talk to the farmers. So I'm in the process of editing that just now to try and get it out. And there's no point in me telling you because it's just hearsay if I tell you. But if I've got, let's say, 10 farmers telling me on a camera, then there must be some sort of truth in it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh no. Oh God.
What's up?
We've now got Ballymina's answer to our Kev Hopton.
Alan, Big Alan.
This is going to be carnage, right? Because we've got John Watt with steam powered internet, right? We've got Kev who's not got the lights on in the house. We've got Stephen that nobody can understand because he's for Peterhead. And we've not got our Al, right? How you doing, Al?
I can put a light on the roads. Craig, that speaker's still doing mental.
I don't know what to say, mate. I'm just glad you turned up with that jersey on to upset these other three, right? Because none of them are good blue noses, mate. So that's great. You don't need to say a word. You just get that close to the camera with that t-shirt of yours, mate. So what's happening in Ballymena, Alan?
This speaker's going again.
It's all right here. See, when you were on the last time, we were hearing everything twice, but you sound all right this time. Is it coming back to you twice?
No, I can hear everything. About 5 seconds after everything.
All right. Well,
imagine a conversation between this guy and Kev, man. It'd take forever just to say hi.
It was. We done a 10-minute moan with the two of them, and it was on for 4.5 days.
This is the 10-minute mode. This is still that 10-minute mode.
I tell you something, though, when I was over in Ballymena, John, Alan invited me up to his house so I could edit my video, and he's got the fastest Wi-Fi in the history of Wi-Fi. So no bit of Wi-Fi problem. Now we've got a problem. We've now got Thomas. Now this could be a few people I know. So if Thomas, you can come up and don't break the rules. Tell us, Houston, we've got a problem, and tell us what your problem is, my friend.
All right, Houston, can you all hear me?
Aye.
Is it Tam?
Oh, is that Ken Biker, pal, Tam?
That is Tam. Of course, it's Tam.
Yep. I'm fitting a log burner here in the cabin now.
Your electricity's off because your lights you're sitting there in darkness, mate.
Can you not see us?
No, it's not the work. It's not. No. It's all right. We can hear you.
Right. I'm just sitting in the cabin. No, a lot of people know the history of. We'll start it halfway. Who's do we have up? It just keeps flickering. Can you still hear us? Okay.
Aye, you can hear you fine, pal.
Aye, a lot of people know the issues that me and my wife's had with Glasgow City Council, and I've kind of ran out of options, to be honest, including with politicians, because they're just no bother. They get in touch with them and the council says we're not speaking to you, so the politicians just write back to you and say, look, they're not speaking to us, there's nothing we can do. Basically.
What is your problem, mate? I'm curious, because I don't know.
Well, I'll give you the wee history. My wife, we moved back up from Birmingham in 2004, and she invested 300 grand in a cutting-edge veterinary clinic in Kinning Park, right? So that veterinary clinic, it was an accident and emergency, and it was a clinic, so it was rehab during the day for the dogs would all come in. She get spinal cases and all sorts of different surgeries, and she would rehabilitate the animals for the owners. Then at 6 o'clock at night, it opened up as an accident and emergency. So when all the other closed, all the animals came to her. So she covered it for 6 o'clock at night, right through the night, right through to sort of 9 o'clock the next morning when all the vet practices opened again. So it was like It was like a first in Scotland. It was the very first accident emergency in rehab place in Scotland. The very first. And as I say, she invested 300 grand in it. In 2006, there's a garage built one at the back here and opened up. She queried it at the time. She got in touch with the council and that. She said, what's this garage doing here? You know, they've actually built, they actually encapsulated the back of our building. So our emergency exit and our ventilation and that was actually inside the garage. She got no response for the council whatsoever. As the time went on, it came about sort of 2009, the garage fucked off, disappeared, and a car wash took its place. So it was there for about a year, 2 years. It fucked off again. Next thing you know, the garage guys are back, but they started contaminating and, you know, taking engines out of motors and just emptying it down the drains. They had cars running at all hours. They were burning all sorts of shit. So the wife was getting smoke inside her clinic and oil and all that coming into her. She had a big hydrotherapy pool that cost nearly 100 grand. So at first, it get totaled, it get filled up with oil and all that, and through all the pumping system and all that. Knackered that. That shut down our rehab. We kept phoning the council all the time. Nothing was happening. Eventually, she's doing one night. She gets a phone call. A German Shepherd was in distress. It could breathe. So she ran. The two of us were in the house. She ran down to the clinic, opened the clinic up, get the German Shepherd in. She started working on it to try and save its life. And the whole clinic filled up with smoke. She couldn't breathe. She phoned me. She says, "What do I do?" I says, "Look, you need to go outside that clinic, and I'll phone the fire brigade, and I'll phone the council and try and get the environmental health there." So, cut a long story short, that basically shut down our clinic. Fire brigade arrived, paramedics, ambulances, the whole shebang. Took her into the ambulance, gave her oxygen and all that. Had to go through her clinic and out the back door to get to this garage. Break open the garage and put out the fire that they had lit. Apparently, they'd put all this toxic shite and torched it and left. Shut the door, and this went up. So it filled our whole clinic with smoke. That was it shut. That was it completely closed, finished. All our surgical equipment, all our drugs, everything. 300 grand's worth in a fucking skip. So we started playing to the council and all that, try to get some answers and to how this could happen, because I kept phoning environmental health. So did my wife, so did our staff, and getting nowhere, approaching politicians and all that. And here we are. We're now, 2025, and we go absolutely nowhere. Nowhere. No answers. No. Top legal brain at the University of Glasgow, I'm not going to tell you his name, he's a professor there. He said you have a compelling case. I've read the whole thing. You have a compelling case. He goes, your evidence is, he goes, it's conclusive. There is no doubt about who's to blame here and what happened. We had an advocate that looked at it and goes, this is very murky indeed. We gave all this information to a couple of politicians and asked them to approach the council for a meeting. Meetings were refused 6 times. The MPs and MSPs totally refused. Councillor tried as well, again refused. We have asked, refused. But the best one happened, what, year and a half ago. My wife, in our new premises there, what they did was they banged up all the rates. But what they did was they gave it like, instead of giving you a big hit like 20 grand at the one go in a year, they broke it down. Whereas you could pay like, you know, like start at 2 grand and then 8 grand and then up to works up to the 20k. But what they did was they never told my wife that. They just took the whole lot, all the money, so that they could get £7,000 out for the old premises that was closed, actually shut down. So I've got a big problem. I've hit a dead end, and I don't know where to go with it.
Well, I've been saying to you for a while, and your wife, I can understand, she was a wee bit apprehensive.
She's feared. She's absolutely terrified of Glasgow City Council. Terrified of them. You have no idea. You just need.
Why is she terrified? Out of curiosity.
Well, she's been bullied. She's been threatened. They seized her bank account. They tried to put her out of business. They refused to speak to her. And she's still in the area. That's why she's terrified.
Well, we've only got 5 minutes left, so if Alan, if you've sorted out your speakers, you want to give us a wee update on what's happening over Northern Ireland and particularly Ballymena? Anybody know sign language? Is that an all?
See what we're waiting for Alan to sort out his internet.
Uh-huh.
John, are you are you going to do the speaker up at Peterhead or no?
What's the date? August 10th?
9th.
August 9th. I just need to double check. There's something I'm meant to be speaking at, but I should be all good if everything's all good.
Me
man.
and Kevin are definitely going if that interferes with anything, mate.
You two are only gone because there was the only reason you two are gone is because it says
The
burger
burger
van.
No, it said Flash.
It's a diabetic friendly burger van.
I'm
Joe.
sitting there like, I know how you two are going. There's a burger van there.
I'm going for the Flash.
John,
So,
you'll get round 2 with the Herald journalist.
Listen, the problem's going.
He was saying that the journalist, so obviously the video that I done, if anyone hasn't watched it, go to my YouTube channel, Bring the Noise Podcast, and you can see the one that I went to, and it was Refugees Welcome. And it's actually funny because you'll actually see how they treated one of their own. But the journalist that actually was there to do journalism on it, in inverted commas, it turns out that you've been speaking to him as well. Is that correct?
He contacted us. He tried to join. We're trying to vet everybody, so came up for the Herald. So, well, everybody knows the Herald's a rag of a paper, far left as it can go. So I messaged him. Says, "What's your plans?" He says, "Oh, I want to do interviews with you and other organisers. Maybe cover it." So I spoke to a few of the guys and says, "Look, send us anything you've done before." But he never sent us any protests. He just sent us things he'd done. So we says, "Aye, okay, but you can come on the day and get interviews. We're not doing no pre-reports, no pre-protest releases, nothing like that." And he says, "Okay, that's fine." And he says, "You'll get a completely non-biased view from me. You've got my word." And then the first thing he said, "I'd be covering the far right protest as well." To John, what? Far right?
If you watch the video, what he says is, I sit here and I do honest journalism, blah blah. He says I'll be doing this one and I'll be doing the far right, and I went, well, automatically that's not real journalism, because what you said is you've got the left here, but automatically you've got the far right. And what I'm saying in the video is, what is far right? You tell me, because people having concerns over mass illegal immigration is not far right.
No. Didn't they say he got his information the BBC as well as a journalist?
What's that? He said that he used the BBC for information. And if anyone's using the BBC in 2025, I'm sorry, you're failing the IQ test, man. You're failing the IQ test.
But student of the year in Scotland, 2024. That's who. And his career was in 20-minute Bring the Noise video.
We're just about finishing up time, guys, and I need to be on the other side of Glasgow before 8:30, or I would just continue the chat, but I kind of need to stick to the hour tonight.
Can you hear me?
Something. Oh, God. We've got 30 seconds left, and Alan's found a fucking microphone. You maniac. Right, anyway, there's a video that I'm trying to premiere as soon as this is finished, and hopefully this will finish and it'll take me onto it. And it's something that I get tipped off about the day. The government Westminster website has changed its job description and what an MP does this morning at 9:05. And it's absolutely mental what they've changed. And I don't know why they've changed it. All I know is they have changed it. And I'll tell you all about it in the video. It should, cross my fingers, come up as soon as this live stream finishes. So if you want to see that, hang about. Guys, thanks very much to everybody that's came up, apart from Alan, right? Because he's not done anything. He's just sat there and watched his telly, right? Everybody else.
I just sat in the corner.
Just showed up with that top on, that rag.
And get it. Kind of all that. And use it all sitting there on the hoops. It's brilliant. Right. So, well done, Alan. We'll see you again another night this week where you can say absolutely hee-haw and just sit there with your Rangers top on. I'm happy with that. That input's all I need, mate. Right. But hang about. Thanks very much for you all coming in. Tom, it was nice you to pop in. Stephen, Alan, can't believe I'm thanking Alan. Johnny Depp for the Hear the Noise, and our Kev. So thanks very much. And great comments, great banter in the comments section. The wee community is growing on all the time. So thanks very much, everybody, for tuning in. And unless you're the type of person that didn't bother tuning in, everybody else, have a great day.